So hi everybody and welcome. This is a C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video number 11 and we continue with variables. But before we continue, just make a fast exercise again. It's very simple. Delete all what you have here. Write them down only without this line of code here. And you can pause now this, you can do the exercise, and of course I continue. So let's see, after you wrote this one, you should have something like that. You have all these things here, then the only thing what you don't should have is this one and this one, because what I said is this one is when you write, for example, this library, this line of code which we need to print out something, then we need this library. And of course, you should have wrote some comments too if you know them. So that said, that was a little exercise. I hope you were good, and if not, I already told this many times, make mistakes, that's good, but not the problem is not to make mistakes. The problem is you have to solve them. So you can make mistakes as long as many as you like. That's good, because problem solving in programming is part of programming. So that said, we continue with variables, and in this one, oops, I already wrote here something, sorry for that one. And in this video we learn how we use this variable, what we created here. There are many ways to use, and we continue with this output line. It's a very easy way. You go after the quotation marks before the terminator here, our semicolon, and we write just this angel brackets one more time, which means do first this one, then do that what comes after, but in this case without quotation marks. We just write the variable name which we need. For example, here my telephone number, I write it down. Okay, here's my telephone number. I save it, I can print it, and what I get here is, let's see, I compile it, and here is my telephone number. You can see it. But we have here one more problem. We have no information. Let's write here one more information. Let's say this is my it's my telephone number. My telephone number. Phone number. Something like that. Okay. Here, let's space. Put this out, and now we can, this is my telephone number, we can print out our telephone number. Of course, if you want print out another telephone number, for example John's telephone number, you just use his variable name. So this, it's very easy. So you see, we just use here variable names to replace what we want to print out. That's very easy here. And now this is my telephone number. This is not my telephone number actually, so we have to correct here this writing too. This is, then we have to write here John's telephone number. So that said, we continue, but before we continue, I want to mention something very, very important, and that is there are different ways to create variables. So this way, what you see here, let's say this line here, the direct one, and this one of course too, are very easy. I call them the easiest one. The other one are also very easy, but there will be a problem. And let me show what the other ones are. And I have opened up here a site. It's called Cpp Reference.com, and I don't advise you to go there as a beginner. But let's talk about the different variable types, initialization first. So you can see here there are actually 6 different ways how we can initialize a variable, and we are using the so-called copy initialization here. They make the example with string. We talk soon about string too, and then the way they did is, I said they use this assignment operator, right? And they call it here copy initialization. And why they call it so, you can read. But the important thing is here we have a value initialization, we have a direct initialization, we have a list initialization. This is important when we talk about a list. We skip that aggregate initialization. We talk about array. We skip this too. Reference initialization, and that's too important. Let's concentrate only about the first two, I would say, here at start. So we can also initialize here the same thing with a curly brace. This is just the difference, and or with parentheses, right? This brackets, this round brackets. And let's make this one 2. Let's create here 2 more variables. I hope we learned how we create variables and how we create it. Let's say we will call some numbers int. Let's call still numbers here a little bit, and later we go away from numbers. And I call it int Maggie's telephone number, and this time I'm going to start with the value initialization, and it says just use curly braces. Okay, so instead of this assignment operator, I use curly braces, which is very simple actually, right? Not very difficult. Oops, let me find these curly braces, and then I just write your number in anyhow. That's it, that's fine. And at the end, a semicolon, that's it. And you see this format, this is auto format from Visual Studio. That's nice, that's why I can write it like that. Okay, Control S for save. This was also a way to initialize. Let's make one more. Then we have this direct initialization. So the same thing like here. Let me copy this, paste this here, write this, and change here the name. And I write here whole telephone number, and change here a little bit the numbers too. So it's not the oops, not at this. Let's write here. So, and now I have almost what we have to change here is just the round brackets. So let's change this one too. So these are different ways of creating a variable, and it's called initializing a variable. And in our case here with assignment, because we assign also a value in it. So why I'm showing you this one is you have to know that not all programmers will use this one, what we created here on top, right? But the most used one is this one, at least for beginners. Professionals probably not, because they know exactly when to use this one and this one. But at beginners in many programs, you will see just a creation like this one. You will create the variable, and then you assign it perhaps with a assignment operator like here. And if it's a direct assignment, so you create a variable and assign it directly, you will see almost all time this one. But there are many programmers, also more professionals at once one, they will use this kind of stuff, or this round brackets. And why they use that, there are different explanations and use cases which you should consider, but for a beginner it's too difficult. That's why I just show you that, so that when you see later a program, a code, that you not be irritated, what the hell is that? And we come with that to the next point, why we are not using that. This curly braces actually, or this round brackets, they can irritate us even more instead of this one. Why is that so? Because later you can see I said this int main is a function, right? And it has curly braces here. And this one uses also curly braces. And when you read later code, of course, if you are not trained as a beginner, then you say, wait a minute, is this a function, or what is that? What is that here? Is this a function call now, or is this a variable? And the same goes here for this one too, with the round braces. And if you are not trained, and that's why it's very important that we train later, then read variable name, and it looks like when we look again our int main, this one has also here round brackets right here, And this one has also round brackets, and then you say, wait a minute, is this a function or what is that now? So this is the reason why we are not using this. I will not use it. Even I think they said it's better to use this one probably in 2022 or something like that. But we are using at start this one. Important is later you read in your book the differences and try to figure out what you like. I don't say you have to use that one, because use that what you like. All at the beginning are all the same, later perhaps not. And this is just as an info. So the next thing is what we have to talk is we use them. I think that's enough for this one. It's really complicated already. But this side, it's a little bit difficult to read. That was the next thing what I want mentioned, I think. The Cpp Reference is just a site where you can read about all C++ things, but the problem here is I don't recommend to go there. And the reason for that is as a beginner. Later, of course, if you are a little bit more advanced, and the reason for that is this site is written almost in a formal language. A formal language means with references of technical words, and they try to make it accurate. Accurate means it must be correct, it must be it should be no mistakes, and it's very theoretical. Let me demonstrate what I mean. Let's go here in this section in practice. As even if you have a very good English and so on, you will still struggle to understand what they are talking. And the reason is for that, let me read this. Constant initialization. What is a constant initialization, right? It's usually applied to compile time. What the hell is compile time? Then pre-calculated object representation. What the hell is pre-calculated object in programming? Represented are stored as part of the program image. What? The program image? What means that, right? Then in compiler, if the compiler doesn't do that, it must still guarantee that initialization happens before any dynamic initialization. Okay, what the hell is a dynamic initialization here? So you get the idea what I mean with formal description. It is not user-friendly, not very user-friendly, because to understand this one, you have to learn many technical words, and they are referring from one technical word to another technical word. They say, like you can see when you go on, they are talking then about many other technical words. And if you don't know this one, then you jump to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. As a beginner, absolute crazy. That's why it's better to use a book, perhaps a user-friendly written book, which is better for you. So that's it. But of course, one more note, of course, later when you know all these words, which comes here, this one will be easy to read, but I think it's still not that good. But the reason for that is, even if you understand it, this one is so written that you have really to go to those places, write it out, combine that, and then understand it. What I mean with that is, for examples, when we go here, try to understand anything. Let me open up one of this copy initialization, what we have here when you try to read this copy initialization here. So we have here already a little bit problems. It says here syntax T object. What the hell is a T object here? And then that's why I say don't go to this site as a beginner. Probably you will not really understand what they are talking. And then here's an explanation when a name variable, automatic static or thread local of a non-reference type T is declared with the initialization const and so on and so on. Let me go this. You see, we have here really, for example, if T is a class type, and then so here, for example, this one and the CV unqualified version. What the hell is a CV unqualified version? And then you have to really learn all these things beforehand that you understand this side. Okay, I talk too much about this one. But later It's helpful just to check something. And if you have problem to understand something like that, then you can search on the website. For example, a very good site, I think all programmer knows this site, Stack Overflow. When you write in your search engine something like C++ stack Overflow, something like that, and then you write what I don't know, direct initialization, there is it. Let me write this faster. And then you go here to the side, you go confused, and then there are many topics you can read, and they are explaining. For example, here you can write a question and they try to explain it more human readable, I call it, but careful, at start you will not understand them too. And the reason for that is not because they are writing in a very formal language, because they are also using many technical words. What I mean with that is, for example, we have here an answer. Let's read it a little bit through. He says, the following applies to C++ 11 to avoid rambling too much. You see, it's a more human readable language. And then but here you have already know what these symbols are. Has two stages. First, temp object. You see he's using again a technical object word. And what I want to point out is when you go here on, you will see they use also technical words, but these technical words are most time very basic words, not compared to this one. Here we have some formal words, which is a little bit not so basic, and they are making here more complex examples. So that said, I talked many about this one. Let's go back to our variable names, and why I showed you that, very important. Later when you read a code, there will be programmers who use this or that, and we should know this. And if you don't know that, you will be irritating while you're reading the program through. Okay, but we are going to use this one because for us at start it's easier, because there is not this curly braces or this one, which irritates us with functions, which we are going to talk in soon. Okay, that said, I know there is that was a little bit irritating, but yeah, we have to mention this one too. See you in the next. Bye.